All right, here we are, spawning in the upper right in the blue with his overcharge. Command post first, actually. He's the Vanguard player. It's MaNa. And in the bottom left, but also in the bottom middle, everywhere they want to be, because they're Celestials. Probably the best, most aggressive Celestial player we have in the game right now. He's Bly. And of course, for those of you turning in on YouTube, those of you not watching this live, this is the first of 5 best of 5s being played in this tournament. MaNa Bly, and then a Laser Denver later on. Winner plays winner, loser plays loser, and then winner of losers plays loser of winners. Yes, that's true. So it's a GSL group is the long and short here. And I love what MaNa's doing in this early game. So notice when you play this style, because we know what Bly is going to do. We have a very good idea about what exactly it is that Bly is going to do. He's going to go, he's going to get his collection arrays set up here as he runs across the map, building more morph cores, and he's just going to get really leaning in. He's just really going to start to lean in to that pressure, right? To the mass Argent pressure. And we're going to see exactly what he's going to be able to accomplish with this. Okay. Yeah, and I got you, Denver. No worries. Yeah, this is a best of 5. If this goes long enough, we should be able to make things happen. But yeah, anyway, so he's going to go and get aggressive. And one of the things he wants to do, as this should not, I'm going to continue to bang this drum. This should not be allowed. Prisms should have to return their mining to something. Whether it is a collection array, whether it is an arc ship, I don't care, but it should have to return to something. Point being, we saw MaNa do something very nice in this early game. What he did was he dragged these Shadow Mastiffs all over the place, which meant that the first Sovereign's Watch did not give the value, did not provide the value that is needed. All right, so from that perspective, well, he didn't get the value, which means that everything from Bly is slowed down just a tiny bit, just a small bit. Now, is that enough to make the game happen? I don't know. We're gonna find out, but it is interesting. It was a very nice move. So for now, of course, this is what you do on Secluded or on Broken Crown. You go, you take advantage of these trees. The trees don't get knocked down before anything properly happens, and well, we're gonna see 3 creation chambers, 4 collection arrays, and just a lot of Argents on the map very quickly. Now, MaNa, to his credit, he went command post first. He has opted into playing as greedy as possible early, not really playing for the creeping, so that he would have stuff up by the time that this happens in earnest, which means his response, it's going to be some hedgehogs. He's super building a sentry post that's going to go and, well, actually not, I guess, yeah, no, that's going to be a repair turret. And now what he's trying to do here, and I think this is very important, he's taking these trees down. He's building himself an angle before this strike node is done. He's going to get right on top of the Argent, not going to knock it down. And he would have, I think it's worth, if you juggle the shots, I think it might be worth it on the hedgehog just to kill that first Argent. But regardless, taking down these link nodes, taking down these strike nodes before they're ready, before they are properly strike nodes and blast nodes, is incredibly impactful. So we have this Repairmatic hiding way far back. It's going to go repair the hedgehogs up. They're being built 2 at a time. And there's no mech bay, right? So, oh, nice. Actually, this is a great opportunity. The strike node trying to kill off the creeps instead of, well, kill off the units, which means this strike node gets very low. It will heal up. Important to point out here, it will heal up, but MaNa's going to be able to go drag some of the Shadow Mastiffs into a corner, get the second strike node down before it's properly ready. And this is already looking much better for MaNa than I really have seen. Oh, I was going to say that, but he lost some hedgehogs. They got trapped away. I was going to say this is looking better for MaNa than any Vanguard I've seen in this attempted hold in... You know, I've seen Albino try to... Oh, let me turn my webcam off. Sorry about that. Where is the webcam? We'll turn it off after this game because I can't find it. You'd rather have the music. This is the, probably the best attempted hold that I've seen thus far. Now, it's not over, certainly not, but MaNa's able to make trades happen. Now, it does get more complicated. It does get much more complicated because, there we go. It does get much more complicated because, well, more Argents arrive and more strike nodes are starting to arrive, and all of those things are, well, they're not fun. So MaNa, he's got another sentry post on the way. This is likely going to be for another repair turret. But I am very curious. I love adding these solar habitats, and this is something that doesn't happen enough. But this just speeds up production that much more. We're going to have transonic rockets done soon as well, which is, you know, more vision. Not more vision, excuse me, more attack range. That's all very useful. And now because MaNa feels pretty comfortable in his defense, he's got himself, what is that, like 8 or 9 hedgehogs. He's going to start to add atlases into the fray. When you add atlases into the fray, this arc station has to be pretty careful. Look at the new sensor drone, getting a little bit more vision. Oh, it's got a cool death animation too. I haven't seen that one. That's fun. But again, because he's oh, this hedgehog needs to be brought into the fight. But because he has enough defense right now, he's like, I'm kind of happy about this. He's going to start to add atlases as well. So that means as these Argents try to run through this cluster, oh, split that. Oh, MaNa split that one away. When they start to run through this small choked out area, theoretically, the atlases are going to do quite a bit. So now moving forward, now it has range on this strike node. We're going to see the blast nodes doing what they are. I mean, yeah, the blast nodes are just going to go down. The damage that comes in from this atlas is massive. And by the way, notice there are bobs here. Notice there's a repair turret here. This Sovereign's Watch on this arc station, it should not kill it. And in fact, as all the hedgehogs arrive, that's going to be even worse. Now we do have sabers on the field, and that will finally take this atlas down. That's where life gets, again, complicated here. So the hedgehogs are going to try to take the fight. You got to split them up. And it's weird because sabers punish a concave more than anything else. So MaNa's going to dive into this, but that doesn't seem all that good. And we need more atlases, and they're not on the way. That single atlas did a nice job, but at this point, it does feel like, well, I mean, we're looking at 3 sabers. They're just one-tapping the static defense. And I'm sitting here talking, singing the praises of MaNa, saying, hey, this looks really good. And then the sabers arrive, and it's like, well, does it look really good? And again, because sabers, they fire in a T, so that the first shot hits and they hit something, and then they splash down perpendicular, so they actively punish concaves, which makes life rather difficult indeed. So hedgehog numbers are not where they need to be. MaNa is going to have to pull the bobs into this, but the splits, you know, again, splash damages here. These units were kind of changed to properly. The idea was to maybe give them an option against fiends. And in this case, that means they're going to be pretty good against bobs as well. Now, that being said, hedgehogs killing off 2 of these sabers is nice. It is a very solid thing to do. Yes, well, yes, they splash adjacent so that they splash right next to the units. I mean, you can see this kind of perpendicular line. So we're going to see these. I mean, these are 2 Atlas on the high ground. We're going to see 1 saber go down. Atlas is still there, and the problem is this economy is really bad for MaNa right now. That is the biggest problem, is that the economy is just, it's not what it needs to be. Relies on 4 collection arrays, and yeah, there's no there is no prisms on most of this setup, but even still, it is rather nice. Now, that being said, these Atlas shots are really good, but there's not enough anti-air anymore. All the hedgehogs are going down, which means that this arc station can just go sit on top of the Atlas, and not gonna matter. So Atlas isn't even being repaired. Yep, this is this should be death. I mean, I say that, but the sabers are falling down, and these Argent numbers are getting smaller. But you know, again, at this point, we're on single star forge, but this feels like we've hit critical mass. It's 78 supply to 42. The Argent numbers are not what they used to be, but the saber numbers are absolutely good enough, and you really need both. You need the hedgehogs, you need the atlases as well to properly take this down. And in the time that it's taken to kill this, because things are dying, make no mistake about it, things are dying. The sabers get low. The problem is there's now 3 strike nodes on the way. That there are these energy batteries that you got to fight through, and MaNa is not made of bobs. There's not an infinite number of bobs. He will eventually, I mean, his economy is bad. So even as the sabers stay alive as much as, or, you know, go down, they're not dying fast enough. Not enough of them are dying, and MaNa will be forced to tap out. But for those of you that are Vanguard players and want to take solace in something, Broken Crown is probably one of the best maps. Probably one of the best maps for this style to happen, and MaNa made it look okay until the sabers came out. So Boneyard is going to be our second map. We're going to see exactly what he's going to make happen in that second map. So game 1, we saw MaNa. He went command post first, double hog. It worked out. It looked reasonable. But eventually he lost his first Atlas, and Once you lose the Atlas, it's not great. So now we're into map number 2. This is a much bigger map. It is a little, the pressure starts a little bit slower. Now, what I will say, I am very surprised. MaNa went command post first, but he didn't do the overcharge tech. He didn't go and start to try to take the and kill the creep cam first, and that may have just been a timing thing, where he wants to go and just get the command post up that much faster, which then means he's able to get barracks up that much faster and kind of go from there. So I don't know exactly what it is, but it does surprise me, because you can clear this with 4 overcharge bobs and still get your command post set up afterwards, right on with the rest of that overcharge, and actually get a barracks up, I think, on the overcharge as well. Pretty sure that's true. Blue asking, is this the best of 7? No, this is a best of 5. In the interest of time, I've decided that when we're running GSL groups, which I think are interesting, it certainly gives me more content to play around with, and you know, the peeling back the curtains just a little bit on things. If it's a best of 5, if it's a GSL group, that is 5 series. There are 5 days in a work week. I have a video for doing this one cast. I have a video every single day on YouTube. So yes, I am brilliant. You can say this in chat right now. You're welcome to tell me that I'm brilliant. I'll take that. Or gift cards. Gift cards also work. That being said, that's the goal. For now, though, we got double mech bay on the way, coming into the natural. So this is exactly what we expect. And when we talk about Boneyard, we can see how much slower this attack is. We're not even getting started right now. Yes, there are 4 collection arrays. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 collection arrays, right? Yeah, some power banks as well. But it's 3:30, and the attack is only just now getting started, which means that by the time the collection array is going down, we already have 1 headshot here. And also, very importantly, if you want to go in Sovereign's Watch push with the Arc ship, with the Arc station, you gotta go all the way back here. You cannot easily push with the Arc station Sovereign Watch as well, which is actually such a massive deal. We saw how effective that was multiple times in the first in game number 1. We saw how it was able to go and just snipe the Atlas down. Just add that little bit of extra DPS that was likely the difference between MaNa holding and failing to hold. So you really like to see that. That is a big deal as MaNa tries to go and equalize things into this game number 2. So finally, MaNa's going to go. He's going to take the health camp. I am very surprised that he didn't take that earlier, but you know, builds are builds. That's how he decides to play, which means, well, he takes the health camp. That's very nice, but more importantly, equally as importantly, this power bank will go down, which slows down production time, means overcharges. It means top bar abilities are not quite as possible as they were, quite as useful, quite as effective, quite as available as they otherwise would be. As this Hedgehog does get stuck, but they're going to get the link node. The Hedgehog is going to be able to get out. Nope. Even though it goes down into the low ground healing zone, not going to be quite enough. These Hedgehogs are doing so much more than they did the last game. And yeah, there's a Sovereign Watch here, and a second Hedgehog goes down. Ugh. I'm sitting here singing the praises and talking about how good it is, but a second Hedgehog goes down, and that's one of them for the value he got. Probably fine. Second one, not as nice, but while this Arc ship is overcharged, it doesn't have Sovereign's Watch. It does not have any damage to it, which means again that when you're looking at this does not have the pushing power. Yes, it can heal some of these units, and that is very nice, but the bubble's done because Central Command is done, and that means this one Hedgehog, the one that got targeted down, is just not going to die all that much. Now you target the rest down, and that is something. And while Boneyard is very nice because you have the low ground healing and you have the healing zone that you can retreat to, so it's double healing with the Repair-O-Matic, you do have to play around with high ground, low ground, and that is maybe not the most happy thing. But we're going to see more. Again, we're going to see more of these power banks get taken down. And a lot of these Argents, by the way, they have reduced armor. They got radioactive blood splashed upon them from killing the energy camp, which is a big deal. That means that these Argents, they die so much faster, and we can see that the numbers of Hedgehogs and Argents, there are more Argents because they're surge production. They're okay. Like, they produce a lot. You get a lot of them. But the Hedgehog numbers are extremely reasonable. And if we take a look, it's still Hedgehogs on the way. Yep, there we go. Machine Lab is done. We have transonic rockets done soon, which is a fairly nice thing, but there's no arc station getting started. In fact, I don't think there will be. I'm looking on the map and I don't see any therium mining. So looking down the barrel of some sort of Atlas follow-up is not really a thing on this setup. Now, it's just a lot of Argents, and they're going to continue to do what they want to do, but as these Hedgehogs, losing them, again, it doesn't feel great. But with this extra range they have, plus 2 range on ground, it means they can do this kiting so much more effectively. And, you know, when one gets low, you kite it back into the repair turret, you kite it back onto the high ground, which, technically there is some vision from the arc ship. There is. But there's no arc station. Like, there's no building out of this. So we are starting to hit a point. I'm keeping an eye on these machine labs to see when we get there. We may be starting to get to the point where it might make sense to add an Atlas in or two. Not at the very least to which to go kill off these strike nodes. But also, Argents, they clump up to all hell. You add a couple you add a couple Atlases into this, and the push is gonna get held. So, again, it's not the easiest thing. But we're gonna see exactly how this works. Harsbo asking, would it make sense to split off just one Hedgehog to harass the V's income? Maybe. But MaNa and Bly, part of it because of how quick macro panel works and everything like that, they are just sitting here, they're fighting back and forth, and MaNa does not have the APM to go and split units off to make sure they're where they need to be. It's just all about, you don't have the screens available, you just got to fight right now. But I think MaNa's done it at this point. The Argent numbers are starting to thin out. The production's not there, and Bly is going to get forced to tap out. Boneyard, we can see the difference. Yes, Secluded Grove is a big problem because you have therium mining right outside of the Vanguard natural. Because you have those trees, it's a little bit harder to contest early. On Boneyard, though, on this map, it goes a lot better for the Vanguard player, and we're tied up 1 apiece. So now we're into game number 3. We saw how effective MaNa's defense has been in games where there's not a Luminite node right next to his base that powers Sovereign Watch defenses, that allows, there's not a Therium node right next to his base that allows for tier 2 very easily on the aggression. MaNa it was not a guaranteed defense. It really wasn't. But it was a defense. And we see what MaNa can do. And why, in fact, he said, yeah, give me Celestials. He's confident. Unlike my confidence in Sword's mental well-being. Woo, if you guys enjoy the stream, please subscribe or donation support. BeoMulf, really appreciate a woo. Sword, I hate you. Like, I love you, but I hate you. Why have you done this to me? Why? But anyways, Natural's gonna go down, command post first, and then barracks, double mech bay. Y'all know the story at this point. But more importantly, we should talk about what's gonna happen with our Celestial player, which in this game is gonna take advantage. There's not a Therium node at this base, but there is a Luminite node relatively close to the natural that MaNa is trying to take, which means that this is it's not quite as bad as Broken Crown. It's not quite as bad as Broken Crown, but it does still give this opportunity. Although I guess he's actually, is this closer by air? I gotta say, because the rush is a 4 collection array rush. Now you get 4 collection arrays, that's where you go. He's gonna go 5, I think. Yeah, okay, a little bit more eco. He's gonna drop 5, and I'm sitting here talking about how, well, you know, you get 4 collection arrays, so you want the 4th one to be as close to the base as possible, but nope, there's a 5th collection array on the way, and now we're going to start to see everything get started. Again, y'all know the drill at this point. This is how this goes. There's no healing camp close this time. In fact, the healing camp is right in the middle of the map. That's not something MaNa can take advantage of. And, well, link nodes are already here. Like, they're turning into strike nodes before we even have any production. 5 array rush, exactly. Yeah, you know, not quite as fast, but a lot of stuff. And MaNa does not seem to be prepared for this. We're not seeing. I think you gotta cut the trees down early. At this point, the strike nodes are gonna be done. The strike nodes are going to be done by the time this gets started. So once these are done, right? Once the link nodes turn into strike nodes, you're not contesting this. It's just not going to be a thing. So I hate to say it, but I think MaNa has not prepped himself for this well enough. And I'm a little surprised to see, again, MaNa not prepping for this the way I thought he was going to, because I looked at this map and I said, yeah, this is exactly what we can expect. And notice how this is getting cut down. The trees are being cut down in such a way where you don't have easy access to the strike nodes. So Argents are here now. We don't have a sentry post. It's going to get started, but, well, you know, the Argents don't have a lot of power, so they don't have a lot of energy. There is that. 3 Hedgehoggers are going to show up. And maybe that's something. Certainly there is the speed buff. No, speed buff was not fully taken. And, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in this defense for MaNa. I think he has already undercommitted to the defense. So, you can't see over the trees. And this is untenable. Yeah, there are going to be more sentry posts, but you're not really going to be allowed to mine out of this position all that much. And if you give it up, well, that means the Therium gets mined. And if you give the Therium gets mined, that means you hit that ultimate saber number, and life gets infinitely worse. So MaNa's trying to play around with this, right? He knock down the strike nodes as much as he can, but they're surged. They're regenerating HP. Because we're we're not on green, but they're good enough. Yeah, now they're on green, so they're regenerating HP. The poke doesn't really matter on these structures, and because MaNa is trying to kill these strike nodes, that it's going to take quite a while to get everything set up. What that means now is that, well, the Archer numbers are increasing without number, so that's not great. And in fact, we do have. Where was the Therium mine? I'm looking at this, and there's a Guardian Nexus down, which means MaNa has. He has 108 and 113 Therium. I'm not. We'll take a look at it in a second because the pressure's happening. This is the longest distance. The longest distance Therium mining. He's sending that prism onto the other side of the map. Look at this. Yes, you get 50 Therium a trip, so it's actually kind of fine. But this is the longest distance Therium mining I have ever seen. That's one of the goals of Therium, even with regular workers, having a lot of Therium per trip is, you enable some long distance mining. That is potentially a thing. But at the end of the day, this means that Guardian Nexus is going to get photo capacitors. We will see an Arc Station. We will see Sabers, like all of these things, because, well, prisms, they move. Okay, now there's a Therium purifier, so it's not quite as bad. But that was the longest mining run, the longest distance mining trip that I have ever seen. And Surgeon, thank you so much for the 117 Raiders. Hope you were you playing Stormgate? Was it Age of Myth? Well, I don't know what you were doing, but I hope you had a great stream. As we are now watching MaNa desperately attempt to problem solve. This Atlas has barely range. Oh, that's going to be a big shot, though. Oh, that is a beautiful thing. But double Starforge on the way. This is the problem that we're talking about. Now, luckily, you get vision when you take damage from something. So that does mean that these strike nodes, they can slowly get worked down. And this Atlas has to start to move forward a little bit. Once the Sabers pop out in enough numbers, it's a problem. It is a significant problem. We saw that in game number 1. It was looking like it was a defense for MaNa. And then the Sabers arrived. And once the Sabers arrived, things got very uncomfortable. Now, I think if I'm MaNa here, I'm actually going to ground target this Atlas a little bit and use it to take these trees down, because that is the big problem. On the one hand, the choke is really nice. On the other hand, it's really hard to take down some of this stuff. So the Atlas is going to slowly inch forward. We have more. No, okay, just the single Atlas for right now. But as you slowly inch forward here, you're starting to push down. The stag defense is, of course, gone. We do have some Sabers not on the way just yet. We don't have the tech for it, I guess. I don't know, but MaNa is starting to make this happen with the Master Pair on things. He's getting damage done. Atlas Shot gets a little bit more. I'd love to see just one of these Hedgehogs go anti-air, because the Morph Core is not a ton of damage, but it is some. Yeah, what am I talking about? Lack of tech. Saber's on the way now, but it's only the one. I think MaNa's, he's got a lot of these Hedgehogs. When this didn't work last time, it was just a lot of Hedgehogs starting to go down. But this Atlas is getting disgusting shots. And then without the Argents to buffer, well, yeah, we're just going to see exactly this happen. Diving right on top of the mass repair, that's going to be a dead Saber. And now there's nothing left. The Argent numbers are starting to drastically fall down. Yes, there's going to be a Sovereign's Watch, but you can cut away for that for the time being. The damage continues to be here. And while there is, yeah, there's no more Saber on the way. So this Sovereign's Watch will eventually try to get what it can do, but mass repair here is fine. And when we're looking at 2 Argents, Sovereign's Watch, it triggers on 1 unit. It is not microable. It is indefensible, or it is uncontrollable. So Sovereign's Watch, because it was on that Atlas, was never going to die, was mass repaired, was not killing these Hedgehogs. And now, I mean, this is a level 3 Hedgehog. It will get taken down eventually, but more importantly, these Star Forges are falling. That end game tech that you need with the Sabers to make things happen, well, it's getting slowly but surely is going to get taken down. The second Sovereign's Watch is going to be gone in just a second. And I was talking about how this did not feel good for MaNa, how I thought this game was, because he was very slow on the hold, I thought this game was over. But he is going to push this back at this point. MaNa, he's got his Atlas. Ah, man, Sovereign, I thought we were done with the Sovereign's Watches. I thought we were done with this. But apparently not. This Atlas does have to be repaired, but it is a level 2 Atlas. It's got 420 HP. Nice. But yeah, the Sovereign's Watch is not going to kill this thing, and that Sovereign's Watch should be done now. It should be off cooldown. And MaNa, not quite at a position where he's ready to get his 3rd base. He's thinking about it, right? We got this Bob on the north side cutting through. But without the Star Forges, I mean, there are more on the way. But this position that we've been talking about that is so impactful is just slowly getting broken down. And if MaNa can get on top of these creation chambers, that's going to be kind of the end-all be-all. That's going to be the really nice thing. As it stands, we're not there just yet, as we see a bunch of anti-air Hedgehogs trying to knock this down. Now, Argents are going to run forward, but it's a Bubble Boy, so that's going to be fine. And again, as we talk about this, veterancy on the Atlas in particular matters so much because it's all percentage damage, right? Plus 10% damage, plus 10% damage, and additional range as well means it's so much better. So the Atlas does 80 damage base. It does about 16 extra damage now. That is a... Right, so that does about, what, 96 damage to, actually, excuse me, it does 126 damage to Argents, right? So that is, it two-shots the Argents at this point. It does a lot of damage. And yeah, the Argent numbers are continuing to increase, but MaNa, he's got his 3rd base. It's fully saturated. He's not really building Bobs at the moment, but it's a fully saturated 3rd base. And with the more money, that means he's going to be able to get more production. And now just dive. When it's only 1 Saber, you dive on top of it. When it's 3 or 4, yeah, that's more of a problem. But when it's only 1 Saber, you dive on top of that thing. You get on top of it, and you knock it down, and it's rather difficult to defend. So Hedgehogs try to knock this down. Not a lot of Hedgehogs, though. Okay, I'm a little afraid for... The Hedgehog numbers aren't incredible, but there we go. Saber will fall. And now we got Sovereign's Fury. I mean, I know it says Sovereign's Watch, but I believe this has been upgraded based on the particle effect. So Sovereign's Fury is actually starting to burst this Atlas. Oh my God, the shots though! And the Atlas will fall, certainly it will, but so many Argents died. And I can't help but feel though, this Sovereign's Fury broke the game open. I think the Sovereign's Fury just cracked this game wide open in the extreme because that Atlas was the defense, plus 2 range, almost 120 damage a shot against all these units. Well, the Hedgehog numbers are not really there anymore. There's only 2 of them. Yes, MaNa has the 3rd base, but he's only on 2 mech bays as far as I can tell. And that's the production here for Bly has been uncontested. The main base is not mined out. I mean, not at all. So the timer that we're looking at is now has been reset because again, there's an Atlas on the way, but it's not a level 3 Atlas, and MaNa does not have a ton of power, a ton of command post energy to make this happen. He's got some, but not a ton. And now we're looking at 3 Sabers, a bunch of Argents, and this singular Atlas as it arrives is going to have to be very, very careful, extremely careful, because well, Sabers just dive on top. So. And the problem as well is MaNa can't really give the... he has to pull these Bobs away briefly, but he can't give this position up because not only is this mining, he's got a 3rd base, so he's kind of okay there. but more importantly, this is his production. Oh, wait, that's gonna be, the Sabres dash forward. Wait a minute here. Shots aren't gonna land from the Atlas, but that was actually a lot of damage. One of those Sabres went down. But yeah, okay. Importantly here, this further back Atlas, look at the range it has. It's been brought up to level 2. But the problem now is Sovereign's Fury is so strong. Bob and Repair Turret should be enough to keep this alive. And we're looking at 5. Oh, well, I was going to say 5 Sabres. Now we're looking at 4. Now we're looking at 4. And that actually is a little bit of a different story. So Hedgehogs are going to... Oh, power of the Veterancy Atlas, boys. It's taken down so many of these Argents as they try to attack in. And where there were 5 Sabres, now there are 2. And a lot of these Argents have been taken down as well. So this is not quite as powerful as I thought it was. But he's going to be able to burst back for now. And this long micro battle, every time I get worried for MaNa, the Atlas is one-shot things. Now, Blast Nodes are scary. Blast Nodes are, as an Infernal player, let me know that let me tell you, Blast Nodes are extremely scary. Blast Nodes are extremely, extremely scary. And yeah, we're just seeing the problem right now. It's always weird that we don't see, I swear I never see players split against the Blast Nodes. But oh, look at these Hedgehogs. Are they? Yep, absolutely. Take this down. You have the defense right now. You're looking at, what are we looking at? 2 Atlas. This one probably doesn't die. Just enough stuff here to make, to buy space. And then that, well, Atlases are going to defend the rest. So now, well, the Hedgehogs, they're just going to start to take down a lot of this economy. And more importantly, that's a Sovereign's Fury that has been forced. 25% of the timing already done, which is top bar energy. That is a lot of power. That's the position busting power that we're seeing, that we've been seeing Bly take advantage of. So now the Hedgehogs, it's very scary. This is the scary thing. Oh God, up the Sabres. Well, they're going to be able to fire. Atlas is going to be able to fire back. This has to get repaired more than it is. It's not. That's not great. But even still, we will see one of the Sabres get taken down. Second one falls down as well. Third one taking some big shots. So I think this is going to be okay. MaNa, he does have enough to bring this to Vet 1. And on the other side of the map, all these collection rates are going down. Bly's economy is shattered at this point. This army that he has is the army that the only army he's going to have at this point. And yes, Argents are good, but they can't really break this position. He's added in some Kree, I guess, to bomb on top of the Atlas to make that happen. But with the repair here, I don't think that's really enough. Kree are good. But I think this feels like a last ditch. Well, okay, I have no therium. Well, Bly has a lot of therium, but his economy is not in a great spot. Yes, actually, we've seen a lot of these Hedgehogs go down to the Kree because they're light units. They don't take bonus damage. And I'm a little surprised at how effective this is. But even as MaNa loses his economy in this natural, he can rebuild the Bobs in a way that the Hedgehogs, well, Hedgehogs are denying elsewhere. So prisms are going down. Collection arrays, single collection array right now. And MaNa's got third base. He's on 3 mech bays. He's got, well, do we have any Atlases on the way? Sorry, he's on 4 mech bays. I don't see any Atlases at the moment. But these Kree are not going to be the effective fighting force that Bly desperately needs. And now the prisms, they're going to run elsewhere because, well, there's nothing they can do. There is absolutely nothing that they can do. Maybe they can they can mine off a Luminite camp to give Bly some money. It is, yep, up. We talked about an opportunity, but that was not, well, okay, I guess they're going to get out because they were still pretty accelerated from their long trip across the map. Of course, prisms are weird, and that prisms, they go and they mine more. They move faster the longer they've been moving. So they have this setup where you can kind of just run around and, what's it called? Prismatic accelerator. There we go. You can run around and be very happy. That being said, worker line in the natural is not being all that effective. I would love to see just a single Lancer get built and a single buzzsaw turret. I think that kind of, you put a buzzsaw turret like right here, and I think that probably keeps the setup safe. But I gotta say, guys, I am loving this game. This was A defense that didn't look all that possible for MaNa, but he's able to clutch it out. Bly has to go figure something out once again. He goes like, okay, well, we're gonna go Kree here because my opponent's teched against this, and this is turned into a 19-minute game that is again not perfect. MaNa's economy is a lot better than Bly's because not only does he have the Luminite camp, he's on 3 bases, although one of those is not really mining. But this game has turned super scrappy. And it's been a very difficult game for Bly to figure out. I think at this point, MaNa has won the game, but it's not a guarantee. And Bly is still trying to make this happen. But as long as the Kree continue to get just picked away at like this, is the infrastructure of Bly continues to get picked away like this, I think this is, I mean, I don't think, I'm very confident that this game will eventually go to MaNa because, more importantly, there's no tech. Bly has 0 Therium, and unless he wants to long distance mine across the entire map, no way to really change that. I guess he could technically go kill these oozes, and that is a single Therium injection. Is yes, Poriforian has said MaNa has won, but he hasn't closed the game out. Bly is still playing the game on the odd chance that something happens. These prisms continue to run. They just want to run, running away. So now Sovereign's Fury is going to get popped, but Sovereign's Fury is only effective if it can chase things down, and that's just not really the case. So MaNa now trying to find a different angle to attack into. He's got his Atlases forward. They don't have veterancy, so they're not bonus range. They're nothing like that, but they're going to start to slowly get in range of all these units. Now, looks like Bly was able to squeak a Saber out. Interesting. But now, well, the base is dead. So Arc Station's going to go down. That is a massive deal because that means that, well, Sovereign's Fury on the floating moving unit's not going to matter. And look at these Argents explode. 120 damage a shot is, when you're looking at 180, everything falls down. Bly falls down. And by the way, this was Bly's map pick. MaNa is up 2-1. So here we are. It's map number 4. MaNa, I did not think he had the defense that he needed in game number 3. He didn't break the trees down early. He was sitting there. He was under the gun, but a second vet, a two vet Atlas. 8 range plus 2 range, whatever Atlas base range is, plus 2, 100 damage, 140 damage a shot versus heavy units, and just slowly but steadily grinding things out up until the point where your defense is strong enough at home that allows you to go and, well, start to kill all 5 arrays that Bly had, or 4 of them. He didn't kill the one that was surrounded by structure, and at that point, when it's 3 bases to a base in like a third, because it had 4 prisms on it, and 4 other prisms were mining a Luminite patch elsewhere, well, that's not really going to do all that much. The economy is not going to match, and MaNa eventually was able to grind things out as well as he had to. But this base also gets very scary. This setup also gets very scary. Now, not as bad, because MaNa is making a very, very key decision. We're saying, look, I'm going to go take my natural. He's been doing this every single time, getting into those mech bases as quickly as possible. But that's very important, because if we look at this setup right now, the Prism's going to scout this out very quickly. But if MaNa did not take his natural quickly enough, this is a position that the Celestial player would love to abuse. Now, unfortunately for Bly, he went the wrong direction. He decided to go south, and he said, okay, well, that's where I'm going to start to build into. And I don't know exactly what he saw, but that does mean that this arc ship is going to have to go northbound. It's going to have to go, and maybe we're going to take this. You're going to take this Therium node, because that gives you some level of Sovereign's Watch across the way. Not probably like, I don't know, 50% maybe. We'll see. We shall see. But what this does mean, because MaNa has this natural, he's not really worried about getting pressured in from his own natural and into the main base, which I've seen players try to hold this with like 1 base bio, but on this map that feels really not all that good. Now, the other aggressive option, right, if you go take this base and try to push into the main, but that's not the right angle for Bly on this 4 base spawn. So MaNa, again, Beo, don't say again. It's a crutch. We don't use crutches here. I mean, I guess I am, but Bly is slow. Take a look at the clock. It is 3:20. We're going to arrive outside of the natural of the Vanguard player, and the stuff is going to start to go down at 3:30. That is as long as it took on Boneyard. That's as long as it took on Isle of Dread. That is significantly slower than what we see on, say, Secluded Grove, which was map number 1, which was the map that Bly just... that looked impossible for MaNa to hold. So, as this arrives, the value of this one is that there is already a Hedgehog here starting to poke around a little bit. Hedgehog and Scout. Now, one Hedgehog and one Scout is not going to be quite enough to break this down. What are these Bobs here for? What? Wait, is he going to sentry post the high ground? Is he going to sentry post the collection array? And just like repair turret it and say, this is fine? I don't know, but I don't believe in this thing for Bly at all. Already one Argent. It's 3 Hedgehogs versus 1 Argent. I guess 2 Argents now. This is not what you're looking for. And the Bobs, okay, they're just going to mass repair this. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Now, God, Argent. I'm like, great, look, 1 Argent's arrived. Now there are 5. Something should be done about this surge production thing. It's kind of insane. So this is very committed. To be clear, this is extremely committed by Bly in this setup. This is for Creation Chamber, which means you're gonna get a lot of Argents, but you're not gonna have a lot of money to tech up. We talked about this in previous games. It is also true here. So MaNa, I thought he might go and make things happen. I thought he might just be able to go and kneecap this before it got started. Maybe not the case, but this Creation Chamber is under significant duress. Now, it does get surged, sure, but the difference between 3 and 4 chamber is significant. But it looks like MaNa, I mean, there's so many Argents right now that I think MaNa is just going to have to go back home. He's got double repair turret on the way, or I guess technically it's a repair-matic, but double repair turret on the way. Transonic rockets getting started. But now the pressure is here, and we're looking at 5 chamber. I don't even know that you can... I don't even know if you can produce 5 chamber. And the Scout goes and does drag 1 Argent back home, but I don't even know that you can produce off of 5 chamber. But Bly's going to make it happen. He's going to try. And 6th Creation Chamber. This is actually... This is so many Argents. If it doesn't... I mean, if MaNa breaks out of this, it's going to be great. But as it stands, that is so many potential Argents. Now, this Bob Hug is nice, but there's no overcharge available. MaNa doesn't have the power, the energy for it right now, so that is going to slow things down. Repair-matic, well, it's going to be there, and we're going to have Transonic rockets soon. MaNa just desperately wants to make sure these strike nodes don't get up, or at least very few of them do. By the way, also the Bob numbers, 2 out of 12 in the natural. Main base mining well, but despite MaNa sitting here on a reasonable economy, he lost a lot of Bobs in that one. Benefit of this setup is, oh God, oh, these Atlas shots are so big. Benefit of this is that MaNa is well aware that there's not going to be Therium. This is 6 chamber. This is a 6 chamber all in, which every little bit of, every iota of Luminite that Bly is going to be able to squeak out is going towards his Luminite economy. He's not really building anything else, which means that this Atlas is not going to be in danger of nonsense, for lack of better. He's not in danger of getting jumped upon all that easily. So that means that these Argents, they're going to run into the main base. Bobs are going to get pulled in. I don't like this position, I don't think. I think this is a problem. The Argents, you know, they don't run into the natural because there's an Atlas there. And I think if I'm MaNa, I was going to say, I think if I'm MaNa, I might even just try to build an Atlas in this main base and pin them all in, but I think this was a massive mistake for Bly. Yes, he got some economy down, but the Bobs are doing fine. Hedgehogs are doing everything they need to do, and all these Argents, not a lot of these Hedgehogs have died. All the Argents have died, and Diving now trying to get on top of this, but, well, there's a double repair-matic. This Atlas, yeah, it's going to get promoted as well. This Atlas doesn't die, guys. Not at all. And Bly diving into the main base like this got way too big for his britches, and you know what? Ladder players be damned. Now, certainly, MaNa is very, very good, but Discord complainers be damned here. MaNa has... This one was looking like probably the second scariest one after how bad game 1 went, but everything else... MaNa's held this. Game's not over just yet, but MaNa has held this, and part of it was Bly really diving into the main base way too much. But we're going to start to see this Atlas get promoted to level 2. We're going to see the Atlas, I mean, I think, yeah, we're going to see a second one get started. Start to knock this static defense down, and the Argent numbers are just not where they need to be. Like, one good shot off of, what's the damage? Off 88 damage, 128 damage. Not enough to make really a massive difference in terms of the math just yet, but like, again, as we take a look at this setup, one good Atlas shot makes everything, and you don't dive on top of this. It's level 2. It's mass repaired. There's a repair-o-matic. It's not gonna work whatsoever, and that just means you spend so much damage on this unit that will not die, which means these level 2, level 3, veterancy level 3 hedgehogs are just gonna shred everything. Bobs are gonna go get pulled. There's another Atlas here, and this is broken. We had 5 array, now we're 3, or 5 chamber, now we're 3. I mean, maybe, but already Bly knows he has to give this position up. The prime chamber is back much further onto the map, and yeah, there's a Guardian Nexus. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Yes, there is some therium mining, and eventually there's going to be an arc ship, but not quickly enough. Not in this game. And Bly, our Celestial player, gets 3-1. I've been trying to make this happen for like a month now. I said, look, guys, I've been told that this Vanguard player can take Celestials down. We're going to set up a show match. And then it goes like 4-1, 4-0. And finally, we have it. You want to know how you beat Celestials? Watch this series. MaNa showed us what happens. MaNa showed it how to make it work. He's going to move on to the winner's match, where he's going to play either Denver or a Laser in that setup. Of course, if you like this and you want more Stormgate, make sure to go sub to my channel on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch, because every Sunday, except for the next 2 Sundays, because that's happening. But in general, we're going to have Stormgate Sundays. We're going to have Stormgate content 5-ish days a week on the YouTube. And I'll see you there. But we have it. Vanguard beating Celestials in at least one series. It's a beautiful thing.